Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to our hide and seek series, where today I got some good news for y'all, because we're finally going to start on our map voting system, which I've been waiting very long to make. But just to let y'all know, I am going to begin treating this as more of a tutorial series, so I'm going to do things as if I'm walking people through it, so y'all have an easier time following along with me. But just know that even with this, I'll still have a dedicated tutorial series in the future where I'll actually intend for this to be a tutorial. I'll make things more clear and more easy to follow along with. But anyways, y'all, let's not waste any more time, so we need quite a few things to get this started. So to begin, in our replicated storage, we're going to need to make a new folder, and we can duplicate this 2 more times so that we have 3 folders. One of these folders will need to be named events. One of these folders is going to need to be named map votes. And our last folder is going to need to be just called votes. And in our events folder, we can insert a new remote event, and we can duplicate this so that we have 2 of them. One of these will need to be called send vote, and our last one will need to be called end voting. And in our map votes folder, we can go ahead and enter a new string value and duplicate this 2 times so that we have 3 of them. One of these will need to name 1, one of them will need to name 2, and the other one will be naming 3. And for our votes folder, we can just leave it empty. And then replicated storage itself, we'll need to insert a new integer value, which we're going to be calling voting players. We can insert a new string value, which we will call winning map, or the map that we get once we finish the voting. And we can insert a new bool value, which we will call voting finished. And just know, for the purposes of this video and for the game, I'm going to be making this map voting system on a screen GUI, but I will have a tutorial in the near future where I'll make this probably for both buttons and for screen GUI. But just for now, since I'm going to do this on a screen GUI, I've went ahead and made one for us to use in the game. I'll make it visible. You can make this however you want. You can make it look however you want, but if you're going to follow along with this specific video, I've laid it out in a specific way. I have 3 displays here, 3 display frames, and in them I have the vote number, so the map that we're going to vote for, like this one would be 1, this one would be 2, and this one would be 3. I have the vote button, which when you click it will send your vote to the server. I have the map name, which is just NA for now. But like, say this one gets updated to house, this one will get updated to caverns, and this one can get updated to house too, since there's only 2 maps right now. But if you have 3 maps or more, it will just pick 3 random maps and it will assign them 1, 2, and 3 right here. And in the future, I'm not going to do this in this video specifically, but in another video I'll have the vote count here. So this could say that there's 2 votes on this one, there's 3 votes on this one, and there's no votes for this map. And I just copied this for all 3 displays, and I used a UI grid layout, which I put the cell size is this 0.20, 0.80, and our padding is 0.1. So it'll go ahead and set these in the middle. See, if I just deleted this, they'd all be in the same spot. But scrolling down, I put the alignment. Both of the alignments are in the center. So I put this on the left, they'd be there. And if I put this one on the top, it would just be like that. So this is a cool way you can make your UI laid out like this. I was just trying to make it where it would do this automatically, so I could put more if I wanted to, or I could put less. So there's only 2 maps you vote for. There could be 5. But this just makes it so you can scale this out a little bit so you can have more maps to vote for. But anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to insert into our display here, our main display, I'm going to insert a new local script. And in this local script, I'm going to insert another local script. And I'll call this main local script our voteHandler. And the one under it, I'm just going to call the voteSender. And I can go ahead and disable this. So this, our voteHandler, is just going to take the voteSender and clone it into all 3 displays. And then when the map voting is over, it's going to delete itself. Our voteSender is going to delete itself out of these 3. And whenever we start a new map voting sequence, it's going to take the voteSenders and paste them back into these displays. And our voteSender is just going to handle our vote button. So it's going to, every time we click the vote button, it will take our vote number and it will send your vote in for that number. So it will say, if you pick the first one, it will vote for the first one for you and put this into our map votes folder. Actually, our votes folder, not our map votes folder. So what our map votes are going to do, the string value could just say house or caverns or whatever. And it will make sure that we vote for that map. But anyways, just to get started, we're going to go into our voteHandler script. And what we're going to need to do at the start, we need to get replicated storage in our events folder. So local replicated storage, we just game get service, replicated storage, drop down line, local events is replicated storage, find first child events. And we're also going to need to get our vote folder. So local vote folder can just be replicated storage, find first child votes. And next we'll get our display, local display is just script.parent. And we also need to get the voteSender script that we have under our voteHandler. So local voteSender is just going to be script.voteSender. And now what we're going to do, since we're just aiming to make it functional in this video, in the future I'll have the vote count and everything, but for this video I just want to make it functional. So all we need to do for this is replicated storage .events .send vote .onClient event connect function. So we connect the function to our send vote remote event. And what we need to do for this is make sure our display is visible. So display visible equals true. And now what we're going to need to do is clone the voteSender script into all three of our displays. So all we need to do for this, for A equals 1 to 3 do, we need to clone our voteSender. So local cloned voteSender is equal to voteSender clone. And to actually set our cloned voteSender into our three displays, we're just going to need to get our cloned voteSender and set its parent equal to display, find first child display, only type in display instead of just the number, and then .a. And then all we need to do after that is we're just going to enable our cloned voteSender. So cloned voteSender.enabled is true. Now that we have this, now that we have the startup ready, we're just going to need to make it, once the vote is over, we're going to need to make our display invisible. So I'm not going to lie, I forgot we set our events variable, so we can just take this away and only put this as events. And then we can get events.endVoting.onClient event connect function. So once our voting ends, all we need to do, display.visible is equal to false. And to set up our voteSender script, we can go ahead and copy these 4 lines right here and paste this into our voteSender script. And instead of getting our vote folder, we can just get local send vote is equal to events, find first child, send vote. And since this script is going to be parented to our display, we're going to need to first get our local vote button is equal to display, find first child vote button. It won't let you autofill this because right now it's parented to our vote script. And we also need to get our vote number value. So local vote number is equal to display, find first child vote number. Now actually put this lowercase. And then we need to get the value of it. So .value. Make sure this is outside of the find first child right here. And so now what we need to do is actually send in our vote. So if our vote button is clicked, or vote button.mouse button 1 click, which won't autofill, we get it connected to a function where we don't need any variable. And all we need to do in this function is send a vote. We need to fire the server, which will automatically send in the username of the player, so we don't have to put that anywhere. And all we need to include is our vote number. And now what we need to do, we need to self-destruct this script. So events.endVoting.onClient event connect function. So every time our end voting is fired, all we do is destroy our script. And now is when we get into our big part of the script. So what we can do first, we can copy these again, and we can make a new script, a new server-side script in server script service. And we can also call this our voteHandler, because what it's going to do is basically going to act as a connection for this script. It will act as the server side of this script, and this is going to be the client side of this script, so they're going to work together. Now in our voteHandler server script, we can paste in the things we copied over, our replicated storage, our events folder, and our send vote event. And we're also going to need to get these 2 folders in our replicated storage. So we can do local map votes. There's going to be replicated storage, find first child map votes. And our local votes is just equal to replicated storage, find first child votes. So now we're going to need to see every single time we get a vote sent in from the client, we need to connect this script to our send vote event. So all we do for this, send vote.onServer event connect function. And we need to get our player, and we need to get our vote. Like I said, this player will come in automatically, so in our voteHandler or voteSender, we won't need to send this in, we can just send in the vote number. So this is going to get our player and the map that they voted for. And what we first need to do is make sure the player hasn't already voted, so local match vote is equal to votes find first child player.name. So what this will do is it will go through our votes and check every player that's voted, and if our player has already voted, so if match vote, then what we're going to do is just destroy our match vote so that we can create a new vote for them so they can switch their vote out. And now we need to do either way, whether they voted or not, we need to create a new vote for them. So we're going to need to make a new player vote, which will be a new integer value, so instance.new integer value, and we'll just parent this to our votes folder. We're going to name this, so playerVote.name is just equal to player.name so that we can find it here. And now I just need to set the value of this integer value to the map that the player voted for, so playerVote.value is just equal to vote. And now what we need to do is make it calculate the votes every single time someone votes. What I'm going to do is make it when every single player votes, it'll cut off the countdown. I'm going to have a 30-second countdown for you to vote. And you can either wait out the 30 seconds or have every single player vote. So what I'm just going to do is for now, I'll just type in finish and make this a function, which will give us a red line, but we can fix this by going up here in between our variables and our server event. We can make a new local function and we can call this finish. We can set no variables to it. All we need to do is if number of votes get children is equal to replicated storage.votingplayers.value. So this is basically going to check if every single player that can vote has voted, or if you want to, we can set this to greater than or equal to the voting players.value, let's say divided by 2. So if you only want 50% of players to have to vote, or if you want 66% of players to have to vote, actually this will be 33. But if you only want a certain percentage of players to vote, you could do it like this. But I want to say that every player needs to vote, so I'll set this equal to the amount of players that can vote. Then what we'll need to do is first we'll count the votes. So what we need to do first is get a table of our votes. So this is going to check every single map and how many votes each map has. So now we need to go through every single one of our votes in the votes folder. So for player vote, in vote in pairs, votes get children, make sure that's capitalized, do local vote index, or the map that they voted for is going to be vote.value. And we're going to check if votes vote index or number vote index. So this is going to, so say our vote index is 1, 2, or 3. There's going to be 3 values in this table right here. So let's say it's like 5, 2, and 1. So map 1 has 5 votes, map 2 has 2 votes, and map 3 has 1 vote. So it's going to set 3 values in the table, and it's going to make this the votes for each map. So what we're saying right now is if, let's say this map right here, map 1, doesn't even have a vote yet. So if votes vote index 1, so let's say vote index is 1, and if there's no value there or equal nil, then what we're going to do is set our votes vote index equal to 1. So this is going to create a new value here and set it equal to 1 so that it's not blank. And if there is a value in our vote index folder, we can just set votes vote index plus equals 1. So this will add 1 to our amount of votes in that vote index. So this will go through all of our votes and count every vote to the map that is voted for. We can come down here and we can determine a winner or determine a winning map. So we can set our local highest number equal to -1. This will be our highest amount of registered votes that a map has because it will go through all 3 of these values and see if it's higher than the rest of them. We need to get our local winner map and set it equal to nil. So now we need to go through these votes right here and see how many votes each map has. So for map index, in vote number, in pairs, votes do, we're going to need to check if our vote number is greater than the highest number. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure we update our highest number. So highest number is equal to vote number. And then we're going to set our winner map equal to map index. And at the bottom of this, since our map index is going to be a number, we can convert our map index to the chosen map, to the actual map itself. So we can do for this, local chosen map is equal to map votes, find first child, winner map. And then we need to actually get the value. So this will just be .value. And what I'm just going to do for now, this is optional. You don't have to do this. We can just print voting over. And then we can announce the map that won. So we can put winning map equals chosen map value. And now what we need to do is actually send our information to the server. So the first thing we need to do is announce that our voting is finished. So uppercase storage.voting finished value is equal to true. And then we set our winning map value. So uppercase storage.winning map value equals chosen map. So the last thing we're going to need to do is make some changes to our main script so we can call on all these scripts and events and make things work nicely. So in our main script, we can start by removing all of this right here, and we can change our status.value to vote for a map. And another thing we're going to need to do is get our player count. So up here, we're going to first get our local player count. We need to do this as soon as possible whenever the script officially starts. So local player count equals number of players get children. And right here we can begin our map voting. And before we even get a map, we're going to need to give our players the voting GUI. And all we're going to need to do for this is get replicate storage.events.send vote, fire all clients. And now we're going to put on the server how many players can vote so our vote handler can use it later. So all we're going to need to do, replicate storage.votingplayers.value is just equal to our player count. And for me, I'm going to go ahead and make a 30-second countdown, or in that 30-second countdown, if the map voting finishes, it will bypass the countdown and go ahead and start the game early. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a countdown. And for our countdown, I'm going to go ahead and make a local countdown number. So we'll go up every single time a second passes, and if it reaches 30, then we're going to go ahead and cut off the countdown. So for every second, while task.wait1 do, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 to our CD number, so plus equals 1. And then I'm going to check if countdown number is equal to 30 or our voting is finished, so replicate storage.votingfinished.value equals true then. And I'm going to break, and if it's not finished, I'm going to copy our status value and paste it in here so we can go ahead and update, vote for a map. And then I'm going to include the seconds as well. So .30 minus countdown number. And so to actually integrate our map voting system, I'm first going to need to get the winning map.value. So local winning map is going to be replicate storage, find first child winning map.value. So this will get the value of the map that won. So local W map is equal to maps find first child winning map, or if the map voting did not finish, I'm just going to get maps get children and then put a number math.random 1 through the number of maps get children. So if there's no determined map from voting, it's just going to get a random map. And then I'm going to clone this map. So local clone map is equal to W map clone. And I'm going to go ahead and parent this CMap to workspace. So CMap.parent is just workspace. And then down here, we're going to need to reset our values. So I'll go ahead and set replicate storage.votingfinished.value is equal to false. And to set our winning map equal to nil, I'll just set winning map equals to empty quotation marks. And then to actually finish our map voting, all I'm going to do is take our status.value and set it to CMap.name has been chosen. So I'll put CMap.name has been chosen, and I'll go ahead and end the vote. So replicate storage.events.end voting, fire all clients. So this will tell every single player in the game that the voting has ended. And now that we have all of this completed, we can go ahead and test this out once we make sure that our map voting GUI is invisible, so we can set our main display to not be visible anymore. So now we can go ahead and test this out. So now that we're in our game, I went ahead and added 3 players. So let's say this player right here is going to vote for map 1. This player right here didn't join in time. So going to our third player, we can go ahead and make him vote for this map. And what we can see is that the votes didn't count. Something went wrong in the script, so we can go back to our server. And what we can see is it attempted to find a string value from nil. And actually didn't pick a chosen map, because what I forgot to do is make it update so that our map votes picks 3 random maps. You see these 2 maps are equal to nothing. And back in Studio, all that we need to fix this is just go back to main. And before we start our map voting, we're actually going to need to randomize the map selection. So we can go ahead and get our map votes folder. So local map votes is just equal to replicate storage, find first child map votes. And all we need to do to randomize these map votes is go through every single one of them. So for A equals 1 to 3 do, we'll go ahead and randomize the map. So map votes, find first child A dot value is equal to maps get children math.random 1 through the number of maps get children. So for every single one of our map votes for 1, 2, and 3, it's going to set this map vote value equal to a random map in our maps folder. So in server storage and maps, I only have 2 maps, but you could have 100 maps and it will choose 3 random ones of them. And all we need to do is .name, get the name of it. But anyways, with all of this done, we can test this out one final time. And we can see in our server that it's still trying to get a string value from nil. And what it's actually doing, since we're already getting the value here and I'm getting the value again, it's just canceling out and glitching the game out. So all we need to do in our server, just remove this .value. There's only one last thing I want to do. Go to our map voting, go to our voteSender, and all we're going to do is update our display's map name so that it will go ahead and tell you what map you're voting for. So all we need to do for this, local map name, is just display find first child map name. And what we can do for now, just to make sure that this is here and that we can see the map, map name.text is equal to replicated storage find first child map votes, find first child vote number. We just want to get the value of this map, so it's going to go and tell us what map we're voting for. And now with this, our map voting system should be fully functional. But just to make sure, we go back into our game. We see it says house, house, and caverns. So we can vote for a house map, we can vote for caverns. We see that it chose house out of the random tie. It puts us into house, and then we can go on like normal. So anyways, that's going to do it for this video. Thank y'all for watching. And like always, if you have any suggestions, please let me know in the comments down below and I'll make sure to respond to it. But anyways, I'll see y'all in the next one.